Welcome to the Wellness and Wahala podcast. This is a podcast for wellness and Wahala warriors who are a winner, world changer, wise, and winsome. They are dedicated to tackling Wahala, which means issues and problems in Nigerian pidgin for the good of humanity. Our tribe of subject matter experts in our village are a voice to the voiceless. Like you know, the African proverb, it says it takes a village. So we have a tribe of supporters that we will be interviewing on our show. Oya, join me, the former diplomat and public health advisor, Dr. Tomi-OmoOba, better known as Omo-Oba, as I give you the best public health and wellness and Wahala gist with wonderful people and guests, my VIPs, using their compassion to take action to put us on a pathway to a Wahala-free life. Bless up. Hi everyone, it's your girl, Dr. Tomi, better known as Omo-Oba, and welcome to the new episode of Wellness and Wahala podcast. I know I've been away for a while, a lot going on professionally, personally, everything I had to get myself together, and this is my favorite month. Shout out to all the August borns, Lion of the Tribe of Judah, the Leo tribe members. What's up? It's my birthday month. My birthday is August 5th for y'all that want to buy me some gift, y'all, Wellness and Wahala Warriors. But let's get into the topic of discussion today, the hot Wahala topic. And for you guys that are tuning in for the very first time, Wahala and Nigerian Pidgin English means issues and problems. And the one that we are talking about today is the MonkeyPox Wahala. We go talk about what it is and where was it discovered, and what treatments are out there, and how to prevent yourself, and how to keep up to date on factual knowledge. There's a lot of myths and misconceptions and all types of orishirishis that are going around. Also, I'll talk about like the health disparities, like the accessibility, affordability of of health prevention, because I think that there's a lot of disparities in accessing even the vaccines, to help with monkeypox. They're not readily available in Africa and other regions. And there is a global shortage, which it should not be so. So we could talk about that. So let's just jump into it, y'all. How you doing? Wait till they happen. Now, monkeypox Wahala, let me explain, okay? So of course, it's spreading now, but it has always been around, y'all. Okay, so even though now it is spreading to the U.S., now they're like, oh, this is, a virus of concern. WHO, the World Health Organization, declared that it's a virus of concern. It's a concern now because it's spreading to Europe and to other regions, Americas, but it has been detected previously in the Africa region and other regions. But because it never go to Europe and North America, they never consider it a concern. Anyways, we could talk about that further on. But it was an infection that has been spreading previously and discovered in the African region. And even though it was first discovered, because some people are like, it's originated from, you don't know where it originated. Are we good? Do we know the first exact case, the exact place? No, but we can tell you, okay, when we first discovered it and where was the location, it is not an African virus, similar to COVID-19 when they discovered it in Wuhan, China. It's not a Chinese virus. That was where it was first detected. Now, was it, created in a lab or whatever? That's a discussion for another day. But let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, that this monkeypox was discovered early. The first discovery was like in 1958, I believe. And this, of course, was in the monkeypox region. And monkeypox, when it was discovered in 1958, there were two outbreaks. A pox-like disease occurred in colonies of monkeys kept for research. Despite being named monkeypox, the sources of this disease remain very unknown. However, African rodents and non-human primates, like monkeys, might harbor the virus and infect people. So it's not just monkeys, y'all. Is in the rodent family. And the first human case of monkeypox was recorded in the Democratic Republic of Congo, DRC, in 1970. So before it was discovered, monkeypox, this virus, in 1958 in animals. It was not first discovered in humans until 1970, and it was in the Democratic Republic of Congo in Africa. Prior to the 2022 outbreak that we're having right now, monkeypox has been reported in several Central and Western African countries, and they never set a lamo. So you see what did they happen? When did they affect us, Africans? It not be big deal. But when did they spread to the Western world? When it's in the South, they have a problem. Previously, almost all monkeypox cases in people outside of Africa were linked to international travels to countries where people have, were in Africa, or through imported animals from that region. These cases occurred in multiple continents. But once again, because is now spreading into other regions, now it was important. So why does it have to take it migrating and spreading to other regions in America and in Europe before public health, scientists, and globally, public health is a global health security, should be top priority for every country. So whether it's first detected in Africa or Asia or whatever region, we should all come together and support. We are all global citizens. And as a child of God, I'm telling you, this is very disheartening. Monkeypox symptoms, let me tell you, are similar to smallpox symptoms, but milder. And monkeypox is rarely fatal, y'all. So people that are like, oh my gosh, it's more irritating. Like if you had, for example, like chickenpox, it irritates your skin. You get bumps and things like that. So I will talk more about that. Okay. So when people get monkeypox, which is not rare, but it's rare, considered rare here because it just, first detected in the U.S. now in 2022. But once again, I told you, it'll be new. Some of the things that happen when people get monkeypox, they get swollen lymph nodes. This is a key symptom that distinguishes monkeypox from other pox diseases. You can get muscle aches, fevers, headaches, and rash. Within 1 to 3 days after fever, monkeypox is characterized by a rash that begins on the face and spreads to other regions of the body. So you'll start seeing like bumps and rashes, and those are symptoms that of course, you should go and seek medical help. I'm speaking as a public health scientist that has worked extensively, over a decade in the Africa region in East and West Africa, and also South. And I've also worked in the Caribbean region. My last diplomatic post, I was based in Jamaica, and now the work that I do in public health, working specifically on the COVID-19 emergency response and the monkeypox response, is for the Pacific, U.S. Pacific island region, which includes American Samoa, Guam, Federated States of Micronesia, Republic of Marshall Islands, and so forth. And that's like the Pacific Island, Asia region. So I have about 2 decades of experience working in the field of public health as a scientist. So I can speak on this MonkeyPox Wahala as a subject matter expert, and to let you guys know that, knowledge equips you, to not be fearful. The Spirit of God does not give you fear. Faith is what we should have, because there's information out there. Equip yourself with the right information. That's why you listen to the Wellness and Wahala podcast. Know about what it is, what are the treatments out there, and and how to protect yourself and access treatment if you have these symptoms. So once again, monkeypox was discovered in West and Central Africa. I told you in 1958, and different rodents, and some of them were monkeys were, one of the animals, but there were also other rodents that had it. But it was discovered in humans in 1970. And the DRC, the Democratic Republic of Congo, was the first human case. And West African strand is detected strand currently spreading beyond Africa, 1.3% death rate. And in Central Africa strand, so they have two strands, it has a 10% death rate. So currently there are two strands of the monkeypox virus that exist, okay? One originating from the West Africa region, which is, that strand is common in Sierra Leone, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Gabon, and Central African Republic, CAR. So that's where one strand has been detected. And then the other strand, which is more deadly, is in Central Africa strand, discovered only in the Democratic Republic of Congo. But still, the death rate is still quite low. So despite its name, monkeypox is actually most commonly infects small African mammals and rodents. Monkeypox got its name after being discovered in 1958 when two outbreaks of pox-like disease were discovered in colonies of crab-eating macaques that were being used for research purposes. So what type of research, and you're playing around with animals and so that's when it was discovered. How does this spread? Monkeypox spreads primarily through respiratory droplets. So respiratory system, that's your breathing, that's your lung, through transmission, though transmission is generally low. So it can spread through the air. It's more commonly spread between human and animals in a number of ways. One, this is how it's spread through humans, through close contact. Because once again, if you're talking, you're breathing, you're sneezing, droplets are dropped through the air. Touching sores or bodily fluids of people that have monkeypox, touching personal belongings that have made contact with sores, and through animals that have it, the monkeypox virus, close contact, touching sores or bodily fluids of the animal, biting and scratching from the animal, or eating infected meats. So, y'all vegetarians, y'all ain't got to really worry about that, but yeah. So, can monkeypox be cured? Monkeypox is able to resolve on its own after 2 to 4 weeks. The way God has built our, anatomy and physiology is wonderful. We actually encounter so many different viruses. And our immune systems, if we're healthy. So talking about eating nutritious food, getting your exercise up there, especially your nutrition. 80% of your health is what you put into your body. Eating more vegetables and fruits, they already have natural antibodies and things that can help you build your immune system. And then exercise, activities. If you like dancing, if you like sports, going to the gym, just going to take a walk, making sure that you're staying active, at least like 10,000 steps a day at the minimum, to really help you maintain. And if you need to lose weight, you can increase that. And, it depends on, of course, your height and your weight, your BMI index, so your body mass index. But monkeypox is able to resolve its own, going back to what I was saying, after 2 to 4 weeks. When people ask, can monkeypox be cured? For extreme cases of monkeypox, however, there's currently no proven cure or treatment regimen. Though there's several new therapies that currently are in development under clinical trial, there are some treatments that are available to help manage symptoms and prevent future outbreaks, like antivirals are available, vaccine, immunoglobulin, and smallpox vaccine is also a way. But the availability and the accessibility of these treatments and therapeutics is not easily available in the African region or where it was first detected. Okay. And even here in America, there's a global shortage. And why is that? That is a very big problem. A very big problem, So, and going back to the two strands of viruses that of monkeypox, 1 in 10 people infected with this strand have died in the Congo Basin. That's the Congo Basin strand. And the West African strand, approximately 1 in 100 people infected with this strand has died. So the The West African strand is actually less deadly. That's why I said it's about 1 to 3%. And the Congo Basin strand is about 10%. At the moment, the health authorities are trying to see, what are the strands that are spreading more common in, the American and Europe region right now. But I wanted to talk to you about the disparities that have exist, not just for monkeypox, but a lot of different viruses, more commonly now with even like the COVID-19 and, tuberculosis, HIV. There's a lot of infectious diseases out there, and, access to treatment. When HIV, came out, people can easily access treatment here in like Europe and America, but in like the Africa region, Caribbean region, in other regions, it was hard. And then, people could not afford it. It wasn't free. So big kudos to our U.S. government for having the PEPFAR program, President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, which I worked on as a former diplomat, once again, in the Africa region and in the Caribbean region, providing, free antiviral drugs to people, free testing, free counseling, and prevention. And even when people become HIV positive, we provide, those therapeutics, those antivirals to the Ministry of Health, and they will implement it to the target population. Once they take this treatment, they become, we call U equals U. The virus now becomes undetectable, untransmittable in your system, and you can live a healthy life. So you can see an HIV positive person get married to somebody that's HIV negative, have a child, and breastfeed, and that child is also HIV negative because the antiviral they have taken consistently, the virus is now undetected and untransmittable in their system. So, but it took many years, and of course this PEPFAR plan poured in billions to be able to try to close these disparity gaps. We need to be able to do that with other viruses, just like this monkeypox virus. We need to be able to help strengthen the global public health system and secure public health, because we easily migrate. People can easily get on the plane, and that's how it spread. Like, oh, somebody comes from one region and goes to another. So we are global citizens. We're not going to shut down the borders. Even if they say, oh, let's have another global shutdown. That's not going to work, because even if you shut down, you cannot block your citizens from coming in. So if an American travels to Africa and wants to come back, you can't tell him that he can't come back to America. He's American. You understand? You can block maybe foreigners, but you can't block your citizens from traveling and entering. And it's going to spread. So we should be able to help and send out our subject matter experts, send out our resources. If we have vaccines, make it available. Work with, pharmaceutical companies. There's big ones here, Johnson & Johnson, Moderna, Pfizer, Abbott Laboratories. Work with them. Johnson & Johnson, give them, the contracts and say, okay, we want you to reproduce, more therapeutics, more smallpox vaccine to make it available, not only in our region, but in other regions where, and provide grants through different federal agencies to these, implementing partners, these ministries of health, these community-based organizations, these NGOs, and hospitals and, and health centers, where they'll be able to access these vaccines for free. Why should it only be available in some small countries? Which countries, like the Western countries, have stockpiled monkeypox vaccines, while African countries have none, despite hundreds of documented deaths due to the disease each year? Countries outside Africa have only 2 recorded deaths so far. Only 2 that we're talking about. Everybody is having an alarm. Only 2. Woke, and I'm quoting this on one of, this person that I follow, woke scientist. She is just thebomb.com. This is the same health apartheid that was apparent with the production and distribution of, for example, the COVID-19 vaccines, where, countries' hardest hits were never prioritized. Same thing with HIV. I told you with, antivirals, ARVs, they were not prioritized until the PEPFAR program, U.S. government, President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, that started with the President Bush administration and Colin Powell. Till today, it's still is quite bothering that the vaccine accessibility, for example, for smallpox, and monkeypox is still not easily available for the African region. They can partner with, and fund pharmaceutical companies. And a good example, just a case study, will be like Johnson & Johnson said, okay, we need to produce more smallpox vaccine so we can tackle this monkeypox spread here in America, and then also, donate to, these pharmaceutical companies have regions and offices and supply chain partners all over the world. So you can say, oh, your Africa office, we want you to distribute, this is your target, how many vaccines into this region, into the West Africa region, into the Central Africa region. And then, we work together with the host countries and the ministries of health and the other multilateral partners like, the African Union, ECOWAS, Economic Commission of West African State, World Health Organization. It takes all hands on deck, everybody working together, both in the public and private sector and the pharmaceutical sector, supply chain, management, logistics. All of us got to come together, you understand, to make sure that our people are secure, that our people are healthy. Public health affects every one of us. That's why it's called public health. The P is people, public, not everybody. It's not just we just provide prevention and therapeutics to a certain population or a certain country. It's not fair. So they vex about this and so many disparities like this for many long times. When it's discovered, outside of America or Europe or the so-called rich, colonizing nations, they don't, they take it serious. But when it's discovered outside, like of America or Europe, they're like, oh, it's just in Africa. It's no big deal. If people are affected, dying, they concern them. No. Even the U.S. government, even Europe, you guys have investments in Africa. So what are you saying? Why wouldn't you care about the African people? It's just wickedness. It's wickedness. So why did you have to wait till something spreads into your home turf? No, public health should be wherever it's first detected. We send in the best subject matter expert, best treatment, best therapeutics, best equipment, best supplies, PPEs, to, personal protective equipment, for healthcare workers and everything, and that are treating people that have monkeypox. So listen, this is no rocket science, but unfortunately, common sense is not common. It's not common. And I'm going to be honest, I'm quite disappointed. I'm very, very disappointed, And many Western countries have stockpiled smallpox vaccines for decades, just in case. The U.S. has 20 million doses, for example, since 2004, and has no plans of sharing any of these. The people in parts of Central and Western Africa battling monkeypox for decades should also have been prioritized. And this Wahala nonsense spread would have not happened if you've been stockpiling for all this time, for over 2 decades, and if you have made this available and provide the technical assistance and the expertise and training for the public health workers, the physicians, the frontline workers in Africa, and also give them some of these vaccines that you've been stockpiling, it would have never spread. So it's about, I'm going back to Bibeli Mimo, the Bible, that bring your brother's keeper. It's not just your brother in your current region or your current city. It's we're global citizens. We're all human beings. We're part of the human race. And I hope that we can learn our lesson, because if you don't learn, this has been going on for many, 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 many centuries. Okay? If we don't learn, we have not learned from HIV, TB, COVID-19. Now we're at monkeypox. When will we learn? If we keep doing the same thing over and over again, it says it's madness, it's insanity. So to prevent, prevention, they say, another way, my mom always mentioned another African proverb, prevention is better than cure. You understand? So it's common sense is not common. If we know that we've been doing this same rubbish over and over again, it's not working, let us change our approach. We know that it is 2 strands in Africa, and they don't have access to these smallpox, and we have smallpox vaccine. We should share it, because if we don't, it's gonna come back to our doorsteps. It has happened already. But the way we can break that cycle is like, okay, let us come together and work with these pharmaceutical companies to replicate, give them the funding, public and private sector come together, give them the funding that they need to make sure that the vaccine and therapeutics are easily available in every region of the world, Africa, Asia, Caribbean, everywhere. Excuse me. So that we can close the gaps on these health disparities and inequalities. It's rubbish, yo. Anyways, I go leave you with the African proverb of the week. I'm speaking as a public health scientist, and the whole. So as I said, as a public health scientist, I'm speaking from my expertise, being a subject matter expert, in various regions, working in Africa, in the Caribbean region, and the Asian Pacific Island region, and U.S. territories. These are my own expert advice views, so I'm not speaking on behalf of any agency that I represent. I'm speaking on behalf of Dr. Tomi-OmoOba. But, I hope you've learned, about, number one, what monkeypox is, where it was detected. Once again, I told you about the 2 strands discovered first in Africa and when monkeypox was first discovered in 1958 in animals and rodents, not just in monkeys, mostly in small animals and rodents. And then it got discovered in the first human in Africa. But that doesn't mean that it was, that's the only place that it was detected. But anyways, and it spread to other regions. However, I want to leave you with the African proverb of the week that says, knowledge is a garden. If it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. Once again, the African proverb of the week, my wellness Wahala Warrior, says, knowledge is a garden. If it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. You they hear me? He that has ears, let them hear, as they say in Bibeli me more in the Bible. Okay? Once again, knowledge is a garden. If it is cultivated, if it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. Okay? So knowledge, you have to always continue to make sure that you're getting your knowledge from the right sources, credible sources, doing your research, and to understand that it's not just research in the region where you're located. Do your research, listen and dig deep and see, okay, what are public health scientists saying in the Africa region, where it was first detected? What are, scientists saying, from different global bodies like the World Health Organization, and then other public health agencies like the CDC, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. But, some places, they have bias. They have, depending on the region and what they're talking, politics. There's politics and everything. So that's why you should have a holistic view. You should gather your knowledge from various diverse sources. And then you should now, put the pieces together. And it will start making sense. Like, okay, this person, they say this, even though he's a scientist, but it's not true. Do you understand? And that's, this one is lying because it's not adding up, and all these other people are saying this, and this is what the data is showing. And also looking at the data, data actually is like your GPS. It will inform, it's like tracing, waiting to happen. Okay, this is where the first outbreak, it was first detected in animals. What type of animals? Then it was first detected in humans. And okay, so the therapeutics that are available, did we make it available to them? How can we be stockpiling here? Do you understand it? In America, Europe, on vaccines, and it was not. There's no cases here, and the people that have cases, we never even send it to them. It's not fair. But once again, let us gather our knowledge and be able to make our informed decision. Okay, and that goes back as I close again with knowledge is a garden. Okay, sow the seeds. Do your research. If it isn't cultivated, you can't harvest it. You can't grow. You understand? So knowledge is power. That's how you grow. And we continue to learn, even outside of school. Thank God we have technology. Thank God we have like the Wellness and Wahala podcast. You can increase your knowledge on public health wellness issues and, and current affairs of Wahala issues like monkeypox. Listen and tune in every other Wednesday. And I will have some special guests coming up that I have planned. So tune in to